I have lived to be 50 years old, and over the years, I have realized that there are habits that seem harmless, but secretly take away my blessings. Gossiping is one of the bad habits that I have witnessed in many women, and unfortunately, I have sometimes fallen into it too. We often think that retelling stories we hear is harmless, but in fact, this can greatly affect our personal reputation and cause harm to others. When we add and distort the truth, the information becomes incorrect and easily misunderstood, creating unnecessary conflicts. Speaking ill of and fabricating stories about others is not only a serious sin of speech, but also causes people to stay away from and lose trust in us. Who dares to trust or make friends with someone who often lies and distorts? I have realized that dishonesty in speech will make people not want to communicate with you anymore. In particular, if I tell and complain about family matters to outsiders, this can cause serious misunderstandings about my family's happiness. Others may exaggerate those stories, and the result is conflicts in the family that I did not foresee. I have learned that maintaining respect and protecting the reputation of others is also a way to protect my own honor. Instead of gossiping, I choose to listen and respect what others share, which helps my relationships with everyone become better. Another habit that I have to face in life is anger, resentment, and irritability. I realize that, although sometimes I cannot avoid getting angry, how I handle these emotions is what is important. I always remember the advice that women who do not get angry often will help their children live longer. This makes me think a lot, because every time I get angry, not only do I feel tired, but the people around me are also affected. Being angry too often not only makes my life more stressful, but also consumes the blessings that I have accumulated over the years. When I cannot control my anger, I can make wrong decisions, hurting both myself and the people I love. Anger not only leaves a negative mark on my heart, but also affects my mental and physical health. I remember the old saying that resentment towards ordinary people can dissipate the blessings accumulated over many lifetimes. The more resentment is kept in the heart, the more it becomes a mental burden, making it difficult for me to see the good things in life. In particular, I realized that resentment towards parents is unforgivable. My parents are the ones who gave birth to me and raised me, and if I do not respect and be filial to them, I will suffer unexpected consequences. Being unfilial not only hurts my parents, but also deeply affects me and my future. I also believe that unfilial people often encounter many difficulties in life, have little fortune, a shallow fate, and their lives are easily threatened by suffering and challenges. Therefore, I have learned to let go of resentment and forgive those around me so that my soul can be at peace and my family can be in harmony. I believe that living with compassion, gentleness, and tolerance not only brings joy to myself, but also helps me accumulate more blessings for the next generation. Every day I remind myself that how I handle negative emotions will determine the quality of my life. Instead of letting myself be consumed by anger or resentment, I choose to live optimistically, cherish every moment, and build good relationships. This not only helps me live happier, but also contributes to creating a peaceful society. Complaining. I used to be a complainer, especially to my husband. I often complained about the little things in life, and that gradually made me realize that I was always in a state of dissatisfaction. Criticism and grumpiness not only made me tired, but also made the family atmosphere tense. Every time I complained, I felt the distance between me and my husband growing. Sometimes I wondered why we had become so distant, but I didn't realize that my grumpiness was the cause. One day, I decided to change, try to open my heart and accept my husband's shortcomings. Instead of criticizing, I started to see the positive things he brought. Miraculously, when I stopped complaining, my family became warmer. I realized that marriage is not a battle of right and wrong, but of support and understanding. Instead of nagging, I started communicating with my husband in a gentle and open way. We had more sincere conversations, and our bond grew deeper. Life became more enjoyable when I learned to appreciate the good things that others brought. When I opened my heart, I not only found peace for myself, but also brought happiness to my family. Loving comfort, extremely stingy, rarely doing charity. I also used to love comfort and be stingy. I only cared about accumulating money, never thinking about sharing or helping others. Looking back, I realized that I had lost many important values in life. I used to think that having a lot of money was enough to be happy, but gradually I felt that my life was empty. Without meaningful social relationships, I gradually became isolated. I realized that success comes not only from personal ability, but also from the support and help of others. Although there are material comforts, money cannot bring lasting happiness. I started to change when I realized that money is not everything. I spent more time doing good deeds, helping people around me. Every good deed I do not only creates value for society, but also brings me peace and happiness. I understand that wealth is not only measured by money, but also by kindness and connection with people around me. When I know how to share, my life becomes richer, and I realize that I have received more from this life. I've been through ups and downs in my marriage, and one of the first things I realized was that suspicion can ruin a relationship. When I was young, I was suspicious of my husband, from his phone calls to his friendships. I was always worried, controlling everything and questioning everything he did. But then I realized that my suspicions created a tense atmosphere in the family. My husband felt suffocated, forced, and lacking freedom. I realized that when I continued to control, he gradually distanced himself from me. Suspicion not only hurt our feelings but also pushed us apart. Finally, I understood that a relationship needs trust and respect for each other to develop sustainably. Instead of controlling, I started to open up and communicate more sincerely with him. I share my worries and feelings, but always do it in a warm and peaceful way. I understand that true love requires freedom and respect. When I created a safe space for both of us, our feelings grew stronger. We spent a lot of time understanding each other and building trust. And from there, I realized that trust is a solid foundation for a happy relationship. Another habit I used to have was being too curious and nosy about my husband's personal matters. I thought that controlling his phone or social media accounts was to protect my marriage. But in the end, I realized that this made him feel disrespected and uncomfortable. Curiosity and nosiness did not help but only reduce the trust in our relationship. My husband became distant, defensive, and sometimes angry because he felt controlled. I had hurt our feelings without realizing it. It was only later that I understood that respect for personal space is an important factor in marriage. Instead of being controlling, I learned to skillfully communicate, share my concerns, and find ways to build trust between us. A happy and strong relationship is built on mutual respect and understanding. Trust, I understand, is the solid foundation for love and happiness in marriage, and I feel lucky to have realized it in time to preserve my happiness. Conflict with parents, superiors, I have experienced conflicts with my parents and superiors in the family. At that time, I did not realize that my parents raised me with deep kindness, and they deserved respect and love. I know that those who are unfilial to their parents will not be forgiven, because such actions not only hurt their parents, but also harm their own souls. Family affection is the most precious thing in life, and I understand that maintaining a good relationship with parents is extremely important. When I got married, I realized that women need to be filial to their husband's parents when they get married. This not only shows respect, but also helps build a harmonious relationship in the family. There are times when conflicts arise, but I learn to resolve them peacefully. I understand that instead of letting conflicts escalate, I need to communicate openly and sincerely. Listening to my parents' point of view and sharing my feelings gently is the way to help me resolve problems without hurting anyone. I realize that in every conflict, respect and understanding are the keys to maintaining a good relationship. Only by knowing how to reconcile and create consensus can I build a happy and warm family. I am always grateful to my parents for what they have given me, and I do not forget that family love always needs to be nurtured and protected. I hope that these shares will help people realize the habits that need to be given up to preserve virtue. Let's build a positive and loving life together. If you have your own views or opinions on this issue, please leave a comment below. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other useful content. See you in the next videos.